Welcome to a brand new video. Ignore the stuff in the background. I'm still cleaning, I'm still organizing today. But I wanted to make a video that is one different. A, you can actually see me finally. But two, I wanted to make a new moon video. Now with the rain outside, I haven't been able to do much outside. Not even attend to my garden or do stuff that actually matters. But since I've wanted to reconnect with my practices in recent times, because I haven't been able to, I wanted to focus this video on the new moon. Now the new moon represents manifestation, change, even self-reflection, growing new seeds, planting ones that you need to regrow and nurture more properly, and that's what we're going to do. So there's going to be various parts of this video where it focuses on such said things. It's going to focus on a spell jar, it's going to focus on some tarot readings, it's also going to focus on journaling and manifestation, maybe even some spell work if I have the time, and I have the battery. With that being said, welcome once again to a brand new video, and by the time that this video does come out, you guys will be able to watch it. And now, if I haven't already said this, the new moon will end today on May 27th, 2025 at 8:33 p.m. But this is still a great watch, and there's not really too obvious reasons for late starts or anything like that. But let's get into this video. Now, the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a spell jar. Now, this is my ingredient cabinet. That's bigger book stuff and more ingredients. But I wanted to focus on a manifestation, maybe a prosperity spell jar. That's something that anybody can have, because obviously you can go outside and you can find things, but not everybody has everything. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take rose thorns. Instead of using salt or black peppercorn, we're going to use these thorns. We are probably going to use allspice. We are also going to take bay leaves because we'll probably be using them later. We are also going to use this mint. And then one of the final things you're going to use is thyme. And that's going to be for courage. We are going to use carnations. And these are the petals right here. And that's all we're going to use for the spell jar. Visualize all the energy that you don't want, leaving it. Now surprisingly, this thorn, or this stem actually barely just fit into this. Now the very next thing that we are going to do is we are going to use thyme. And what this is going to do is just going to promote courage. Now, with that being said, I have it in here. It's perfectly good. My intention was to set it so I have courage to go out and about and perform anything that will help me achieve my dreams, my goals, and my intents. Just have courage to do them so I can manifest them. Now, with this allspice, I'm going to promote my energy and put it into this manifestation spell jar. Now the reason why I want energy is because you got to be motivated to actually be able to nurture your seeds properly, so you are able to get the things that you want, the things that you want to manifest. So it is extremely important to have this energy to be placed into it. Now with the allspice in there, after blessing it, we can move on to mint. Now mint's going to be used for success, and that's just a given. You know, I'm not setting a specific intent for it either. Well, now we have mint in there, and I pretty much blessed it as to have success with my manifestations, so I can be abundant off of them and prosper off of them. And not just my manifestations, but anything I want to achieve, like my intentions, my goals, my desires. Now, one of the final things that we are going to do is these carnations. Now, I'm going to use them for happiness and then put them in here because you want to be happy with actually what you're manifesting. Whether it's a simple goal, a long-term goal, or something that, you know, it's just whatever you want to be successful with and prosper and grow from, all of that. I'm going to use the carnation petals for that specifically. So this is what it looks like, almost nearly finished. It's almost there. We are actually missing one thing. That is a bay leaf. Now, you can set a bay leaf to act as a fast acting spell every single time with the intention that you are going to write on it. And that's what we are going to do. We are going to use the ashes of this bay leaf with the written intention and the energy that I put into this bay leaf, putting all that into this jar that you see in front of you. So with the base leaf, we will make sure that whatever I set it as an intention for acts very fast. Also, I want to point out that a bay leaf does not require the spell to actually work. It's just a fast acting way for a spell to work, but you still got to do everything for the spell, like your energy and caring for whatever you are doing the spell for, because the spell does not work for you. You work for the spell to work. Now you can use anything to burn your bay leaf. I prefer something that I don't have to, burn anything else but the bay leaf itself. So I actually thrifted this, and it's quite beautiful. Now for me personally, the bay leaf doesn't have to necessarily be a huge one. Some people say that you shouldn't use a broken one, but I'm using this smaller one because I want less ashes, but I also don't have a lot to write. And as long as you put your energy into this spell and the attention with actual intent, it will be answered. And now just let it do its thing, visualize what you have written on there, and then put all the ashes into the spell jar. Normally, you don't have to wait until it burns, but A, I don't have a big enough mouth for the spell jar, and B, I already have a lot in there, so the ashes would fit perfectly. And just visualize that intent by putting the energy with that visualization within the intention. Now with that in there, we are going to put the lid back on and then seal it up. We'll seal it after we put our energy and string onto it. I guess that's just because you put ingredients into a jar doesn't mean that the spell jar is going to work. The very next thing is using this candle to actually help you seal the jar. Now green is a very reasonable candle. It's a candle that helps you promote success, but you can use white, you can use whatever is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't just have to be green or a specific type of green. You can mix colors as long as the intention of the candles are real and pure with the intention of what you're using it for. Now with that being out of the way, we are going to put all the energy and my attention into this jar. That is extremely important. Like I said, just because you have everything inside the jar and you may have blessed it and you have set your intentions and put your energy you also need to put the energy to the overall jar and everything else still inside the jar. That's what I personally believe, which is different, but that is what I truly believe. Now with the jar, what I do is I take both of my hands and I cup it just very, very lightly so you don't break the wax seals or anything like that. And I close my eyes and I visualize the energy that's going into the jar. Just like that, and I know the picture's a little bit bad right now, but just like that, it is on me, it's done, and it is good. Now we're going to move on to a fast acting spell with just a bay leaf. Though before we move on to that spell, I want to journal first because I believe that journaling manifestations before doing a spell like this is very important because then you are very clear with your answer. You don't want to scramble your answers, or you don't want to wrongfully tint your spell to do the opposite. You want to be very, very clear and direct to the universe with your answer, because you may get opposite results or nothing at all. Now, journaling doesn't have to be like a whole lot of stuff. Honestly, it can just be very short, very sweet, stuff like that. I'm going to write more into this. But just make sure that whenever you are writing, any of your journals is focused on whatever you're journaling about. But regardless, make sure that you're just doing what you need to whenever you're journaling. So before I move on to things like the manifestation spell and the tarot reading, I wanted to point out that journaling helps everybody, whether you're a witch or you're not. But whenever it comes to journaling about your manifestations, everybody can do. You don't have to be a witch. You could just be a normal person. Now, on top of that, whenever you're writing your manifestations, I want you to focus on how this manifestation will help you, how this manifestation will align with your goals and the seeds, the intentions that you do plant for the phases that you do plant these intentions for. And on top of that, I want you to focus on what can you remove from your life, what you can replant, and how everything in your manifestation journal and the things that you do plant can actually help you out in the future. Now, in my journal entry today, I'm going to go quickly look at it. I wrote a few pages, so I wrote my goals for the current moon phase, and they were just pretty simple. They were pretty much me focusing and me being driven, motivated, being less scared, confident, and finding balance in my life. But then I also went much more in detail, like projects that needed to be completed by the next full moon, which is June 11th. And then I went on to saying what needed to be planted, and I focused a lot on the things that were about my mindset, my energy, my life, but not just that, but also my wealth, clarity, my business, my relationship even, and stuff like that. And then how I can achieve them is another big one, because you want to have the steps for your seeds to actually work. You want to nurture your seeds, care for your seeds. You want to manifest everything that you want to manifest, because like I said earlier, spells and stuff like that do not work. Once I've written these things down and how I achieved them, or how I can achieve them, then I did the rewards. What comes after, financial stability? I get a car, I get a better living situation, I don't have to stress about my finances, I can pay off my debts, and stuff like that. But on top of that, a better mindset brings me, less stress, less, structure, I guess, more freedom, and stuff that I actually need to be much more relaxed and happy in my life to find a balance in it. And then I also went to think about how this stuff transforms my life when I'm manifesting my goals, my intentions, my dreams, my desires, and my wants. That's pretty simple for me to ask. And I said being more mature helps, but also making less excuses, less talk, and more action. So being more motivated, being more action versus words, and matching up with those actions with the words that you do speak, though. And then with the alignment part, because you want yourself in your life to align with your manifestations that you need to achieve and to reach. You need to align yourself with these things so you can manifest a better self and a better life and all of that. So I put down just restructuring the way that I manage things and live so I can align myself with these things. Now moving on, I want to show you a very, very fast acting spell. And we kind of did it earlier, but I kind of want to advance it. Now we're going to have probably use majority of these because I want to manifest a lot. Now you don't have to use several bay leaves. If you can fit it all in one bay leaf, you can. Now how I do it whenever I have these bay leaves and I write on them, I typically use it as an affirmation versus a want. And that can differ between witches, especially like you and people in general, because you may want something but you're not reaching it. So I use affirmations saying I am wealthy so I can strive myself and drive myself to wealth versus I want to be wealthy because that's just a want. And nothing wrong with just want, but for me an affirmation releasing into the universe and the energy of the spell releasing it into the universe is a lot more powerful and a lot more heard versus anything else. Now I know that you can't really see this, but I wrote this 3 times both ways. So the very first time I wrote I have wealth, then going down facing towards me as if I'm receiving it, I wrote I am wealthy 3 times. It's similar to a protection spell that for a protection spell jar, and that's what I did it for in a similar fashion. Now I'm going to follow through with how many bay leaves that I need and then just continue and continue and continue. As I am writing this, you need to imagine, and I need to imagine my reasoning of why I wrote this on my bay leaf. So this is success, so I am successful, I have success. Imagine that success. Imagine that abundance once again. And I have calmness. And you can obviously do what you need to it. And now what you want to do is you take the remaining ashes and you blow them outside. Also still visualizing everything that you have wrote.